Hey friends, welcome back to my channel, Organized with Joy, and welcome if you are new here. I am sharing an extra video this week because it is the end of the month, and if you're new around here and don't know what that means, for my channel it means sharing a declutter with me, sharing everything that I decluttered in the month of May. Ordinarily, this is a collab video. I invite anyone and everyone who wants to share what they've decluttered for the month to join in. And this month, it just snuck up on me. So I'm not sure if anyone is going to be participating this month, but if I do have friends that want to show you what they're decluttering, I will certainly have a playlist and have that link in the description box below for you to check it out so you can get even more decluttering motivation. But today I wanted to share a couple of clips from throughout the month because I cleaned out our garage and our attic. And the garage, there wasn't a lot, but they were kind of big and bulky things that I just wanted to get rid of and get them out of my house. In the attic, it was a lot of stuff. It was a lot of stuff. So I will just insert a clip where I walk through everything that I am decluttering from that project because I have already gotten rid of all of it. It's already out of my house and gone, and I just didn't want it to sit around my house throughout the month because I did do that project earlier in the month. So I will go ahead and insert these clips right here. So starting over here, this is actually just a box for our Christmas tree. We leave our tree upright in our attic instead of packing it away in a box. So I need to just go ahead and get rid of that box. And then I have a couple of toy cars. And while I'm on that subject, I also have this toy castle. And then I'm getting rid of this Lincoln log box, but I actually have the Lincoln logs in a plastic tote. That box was a little bit worse for the wear, and so I thought it was better to just go ahead and store them in a uniform box along with everything else that's up there. I have this shelf, and those two plumber's pipes is how the shelf was held up. That was in my son's room, but we rearranged actually quite a while ago. I stuck this in my attic space because I didn't want to just get rid of it, but now I'm like, I don't know why I'm keeping it. We rearranged, and he has my husband's guitars hanging under his shelf. There used to be like two shelves, but we had to remove that other shelf so that the guitars would fit underneath. Speaking of guitars, that guitar stand is kind of broken, so I'm pretty sure a guitar like won't stay in there, so I'm gonna go ahead and get rid of that. Over here I have some Pokemon tins. By the way, anything that belonged to my children, I did ask them before decluttering them. He did keep a box of Pokemon cards, but he said I could get rid of the tins. And then there's actually also a card folder, and I just removed the sleeves so it would fit better in the box that I'm storing the Pokemon cards in. And then this Christmas lights are burnt out. I have a couple of rolls of wrapping paper, and I've just decided I don't want to keep wrapping paper on hand. I have gift bags if I need them, but once Christmas is over, I think I'm just gonna go ahead and pass along my extra wrapping paper because I don't have a great place to store it. Speaking of Christmas, I have this is really cute, this Repeat the Sounding Joy. And I used to display it every Christmas, but I found the last couple of Christmases, or at least I know for sure last Christmas, I did not pull this out because I didn't have the appropriate size frame for it anymore. I must have repurposed the frame that I was using for it someplace else. And it's a little bit worse for the wear. I've had it for many, many years. So I'm gonna part with that. And then a couple of computer items that belong to my son. This was actually a computer that he deconstructed to build his own computer. And so those are kind of parts that he said he's done with. The keyboard might be broken, not really sure, but either way, this was with my son's stuff and he said I could get rid of that. Moving down here, that's just a lid. And then that's just an empty banker's box. I removed everything from these banker's boxes and put them into plastic storage bins that I had on hand, and just making it look more streamlined. So most of the boxes I've already broken down. I have that one, and then that one over there has dishes that we used to have. My in-laws gave them to us when we first got married, and we eventually replaced them, and I kept them thinking my daughter might want them one day, but she said she doesn't really like the style of them. So that's what's in that box, and I will be getting rid of that. These are poster frames that they do have pictures from when we lived in Oregon. I had some prints, and they used to be hanging in my husband's office a long time ago, but he's since moved out of that office, and my daughter's in that space now, and I just never hung those back up in his new office space because there's already artwork in that room. And then this was frustrating. This is a shower caddy thing that I had bought for my son for his apartment, and it didn't fit. I don't remember exactly what happened. I think the shampoo and conditioner, or shampoo and soap containers, didn't fit with where the shower head was located. And I actually tried it here at home too. It's just an awkward thing. It's awkward, so I'm just letting it go because it did not work in our shower either. And then lastly, this is the hardest thing to let go, my kids' Easter baskets. If you're new here, all three of my children are adults. My youngest turned 18 last fall. And my middle son, I haven't even been using his basket the last few years as he's been in college. I did, again, ask my children if these were meaningful to them, and they all said no, they don't care. They are hard to let go of, but they're quite bulky to store for using just once a year. And especially now that my kids aren't of the age where they're doing egg hunts, it just really doesn't make sense to keep them. So that is everything that I decluttered from this attic space, and I will just insert this clip as I share the other things with you that I'm decluttering for the month of May. But wait, there's more. So my husband finally went through these boxes of mostly textbooks and stuff from college and from grad school, and he's basically getting rid of everything. I think he kept 2 books. So this is also leaving. Okay, I just wanted to show you the things I was decluttering. I'm getting rid of this pole. The husband said he does not use it. It's supposed to be to cut branches that are really high, but if we have that issue, I just hire someone. This is a pool cleaner that we no longer use. I'm going to sell that on Facebook Marketplace. It still works, it just doesn't work with our pool because there's a part, I don't know, my husband told me, but it doesn't work with our pool, but I can sell it. And then in the corner there, I have 2 scooters and some sort of weird skateboard. My son said that I could get rid of all 3 of those things. So those are the things I'm decluttering from the garage. Oh, we are also getting rid of these closet doors. There is a hole in one of them, and honestly, there's paint on them too, so we don't use them or need them. I took these out of the attic. That's where I put them after I took them off the closet. But I cleaned out my attic space, took these out of the attic, and now they have to just stay here until we have our neighborhood bulk pickup. So I'm also getting rid of those. I just have to wait until I can actually get rid of them. Okay, now I wanted to show you everything else that I decluttered in the month of May. I got rid of a lot of things this month, so I'm just keeping that decluttering ball rolling. I will say the more you declutter, the easier it gets to let things go. So the first thing I wanted to show you, this twin size duvet cover with insert. I've been holding on to this for a while. My son used that in his dorm when he was a freshman in college, and he actually only used it for a short period of time because that was the fall of 2019, the spring of 2020, so he had to come home early that year. So it's kind of frustrating that I am getting rid of this and we barely used it. But we are not using it. It's just sitting in the closet because the apartments that he has lived in since then all have full-size beds in them. And so I'm just gonna go ahead and let this go since we're not using it. Thankfully, I just bought it on Amazon and it was actually rather inexpensive. So I'm just not gonna beat myself up about it. It was used, but now we're not using it. Next up is just a little pile of clothing. I feel like I always have just at least a few items of clothing. I try to constantly declutter my clothes as I am trying to make my wardrobe more minimal. Next up, when I was cleaning out the attic, I was going through a bunch of devotionals and Bible studies that I did, and honestly, it was a big project and I didn't really have time to meticulously go through each one, but I did come across this one and I decided to go ahead and get rid of it because there wasn't any spaces where I wrote in it or anything like that. I don't even remember it, so obviously it's not very meaningful to me, so that's going. Next up, I recently cleaned my backyard and that video will be coming up soon. And I decided to go ahead and let go of this outdoor clock that we've had for many years. You can see that I spray painted it and it really did not hold up well under the weather. So I did go ahead and replace this with a new outdoor clock. So this one's going. I have a few random things from my game room that I cleaned out. I was holding on to this collar that used to be my dog's. It's almost like when you have like a toddler and you want to keep their clothes even though they're worn out or they don't fit anymore. This collar is definitely worn out and I replaced his collar. I held on to it for a while, but I'm like, why am I keeping this? It's kind of silly. It is worn out. And next up is just some Scotch Guard. I don't remember the last time I used this, so I decided to go ahead and let it go. I also have these pool toys. They're like diving toys. My kids are all older now, and so this is really not something that they enjoy playing with, so I decided to go ahead and let those go. Next up are these little mailboxes. I have 5 of them, one for each family member of my family, and they used to actually have our names on the front of them, but I just peeled that sticker off. So in the clip from the attic space, you saw that I decided to get rid of my kids' Easter baskets, and I decided the same things for these little mailboxes. I set these out around Valentine's Day, and when my kids were really little, I used to fill them up with treats and such for fun for Valentine's Day, but I decided if I'm letting go of the Easter baskets, it's probably okay to let go of these little mailboxes as well. My husband and I actually had one too, but you can probably see back there, there's 5 of them, and I'm getting rid of all 5. A couple of random things. This remote control, I don't even remember. Oh, I found this in my game room as well. This remote control belongs to an old stereo system that we used to have, and apparently I forgot to declutter the remote when I got rid of the stereo system, so this is useless to us now. This is something I'm disappointed about. I was trying this. I have really dry skin, and so I thought this would work well, but it's just a really weird consistency. It's very lumpy and it's hard to rub it in fully. So I'm gonna go ahead and let this go. Okay, now I have a few things that I decluttered from my kitchen. And first, I have 6 of these little mini funnels, and they came with a set of like jars for coffee syrups that I purchased on Amazon, and I decided to just keep one. Maybe I didn't even keep one because I don't use a funnel to put the syrup in the jars. I actually have a set of funnels, like 3 different sizes, so I decided if I have not used these miniature funnels yet, I probably will not use them. And along those same lines, this came with one of the sets. It is a spout for like an oil or vinegar bottle, and unfortunately I had just purchased some of these for an oil and vinegar bottle set that I have, but I guess this wouldn't work because it was only one. But this was a gift with that set of bottles, and I have no use for it. I kind of get frustrated about like these sets that you get on Amazon, and when they give you a gift, it's like most of the time I don't use everything in the set, and I don't even want the free gift. So it's kind of frustrating, but it is what it is. And then these little random toppers, they go on top of the jars that I was talking about for the coffee syrups. I do not use these. Again, I don't use them, so no need to keep them. Next up is this Misto oil sprayer container. I bought a new one because this one was broken, like the pump part does not work totally correctly, and so I decided to just replace it. This little, I don't even know what, scoop came with my coffee grinder, and I have a different scoop for my coffee that I use, and this one has a little brush on the end to clean out the coffee grinder, but honestly it's not sufficient enough. I have to like get in there with a knife to really scrape out the extra coffee grounds that are left over, so this is not helpful to me. Lastly, I have this plastic tablecloth, and I used to keep these on hand for birthday parties or other parties that we would have, but honestly we do not have like kid birthday parties for our kids anymore, and I've had this on hand for quite some time, so I'm just gonna go ahead and let it go. Well, that is all I have for you today for this declutter with me. I hope it was motivational and gave you some ideas of different things around your home that you might be able to part with today. But be sure to check out the description box to see if there are any other ladies participating this month, and I will have a playlist linked down below if there are other friends that want to share with you the things they decluttered. But thank you so much for watching until the end, and I will see you in the next one. Bye!